Welcome to the presentation and demo for IBM InfoSphere Data Growth Solution for PeopleSoft. Companies worldwide are realizing the value of database archiving as the best practice of managing data growth. The key benefits of archiving includes risk reduction. We safely archive the data, still maintaining the company's retention and data compliance policies, and the data will be accessible for audit and e-discovery requests, while ensuring a lean production data, which reduces the impact of disaster events. Business efficiency, time. The next benefit is increase in the business efficiency in terms of meeting the service level goals to ensure timely completion of key business processes for mission critical applications. Data access strategy. You can also implement scalable archiving strategies that easily adapt to ongoing PeopleSoft requirements. Expense reduction. Cost reduction in hardware and software storage is achieved by archiving the data and the data on cheaper alternate database or in the form of files. The figure represents an ideal archival process. To the left is the production database from which Optim intelligently moves inactive or infrequently accessed data that still has value to lower cost storages while retaining the data integrity on both the environments. The data archive can be stored in file formats or to an alternative database. Optim also provides the ability to universally search and access data from both production and archive environments using the same native application or XML or ODBC, JDBC, or any other third-party report writers. If need be, Optim can selectively retrieve and restore the data from the archive files back to the production database. IBM has developed a solution specific to PeopleSoft wherein the archive data is seamlessly accessed by the PeopleSoft using the native application access feature. This feature allows the users to access only the archive data or the production data or have access to both the data based on the configuration. The figure here is the representation of native application access architecture. The PST-arch schema references the table in the archive database as well as in production, using which the user can extract both archive data and production data respectively. The PST-arch data schema references the table in the archive database to which we restore the archive data. Now, let's proceed to the product presentation. This is the login page for PeopleSoft production box. We're logging in with the credentials VP1. This leads us to the PeopleSoft PIA page. Optim PE archiving is the link for executing data growth solutions, under which we can see the archive, delete, and restore links provided for different modules installed. For demo's purpose, we will be looking at order management, sales order, OMS, module specifically. Now, let us start with the archive process. Select OM Sales Order Archive Request link and go to Add a New Value tab and enter the request ID as OMS1. Click on the Add button. Now the archive criteria page is displayed. We are archiving the sale order for the date range 1st Jan 2000 to 30th November 2014. Enter the description as sales order demo. Here, the business unit has default value as percentage. This means all business units are considered for archival. If we want specific business unit for archival, we can select by clicking the lookup button. For the demo, we will consider the business unit, that is US 001. Here we have a feature to do only selection or to do both selection and deletion in a single step. Defer delete checkbox serves this functionality. By default, the defer delete checkbox is selected for demo's purpose. We are going with the default defer delete checkbox. The Optim selects all the sales order with the order status as closed or cancelled, which falls in the above given date range, and for the selected business unit US 001. Here, the user can run the request either by clicking on Run Archive button or schedule the process to any future date and time by clicking on Schedule Archive. For demo, we are clicking on Run Archive button. Now the status has changed to Archive Requested, and Optim has started the process of identifying the data for archival for the above inputs. This command will not delete the data, but it just selects the data for the database and creates an archive file out of it. Click on the Refresh Status button, and this will turn the update status with the current status of the Optim archive process. Once the process is completed and the status on the page changes to Extract Completed, click on the Refresh Status button. This will in turn update the status with the current status of the Optim archive process. Once the process is completed, the status on the page changes to Extract Completed. Now, click on the Process Monitor button to check the Optim archive process which is running. Here we can see the run status is processing for the current archive process. Now we will go back to the archive criteria page and click on the Refresh Status button until the status changes to Extract Completed. Now we will go to the Process Monitor and click on the Refresh button on the Process Monitor page until the run status and distribution status changes to Success and Posted respectively. Now in the Process Monitor page, click on the Details to know the process detail and click on View, Log or Trace. Here we can see Archive Report and the Override Parameter file respectively. Click on the OMS Archive Report. It contains all the details like request name, server name, archive file and access definition. The process status is no errors and no warnings. The total rows archived is 2215, rows with errors is 0. And under rows detail, we can check the rows archived from each table. These are the tables related to the order management sales order module, and it includes transaction tables and the reference tables which have been selected for the archival. However, the records from the transaction tables are the only ones that will be deleted during the deletion process, which we will show later in this video. The records from other tables are extracted only for the reference purpose, and it will not be deleted or restored to archive database. It will be available in the archive file for future references. Now we will check for the data eligible for archival in the production box through PeopleSoft application. Navigate to Main menu, Order Management, Quotes and Orders, and Create Order. Now let us select Business Unit US 001, Order Status Closed, and click on Search. It lists out all the sales orders which are now eligible for archival. Let us go to the Union View PIA. Log into the Union View PeopleSoft application by the PST ARC credentials. We will check for the sales order data for the same business unit and the date range with order status as closed. Navigate to Main menu, Order Management, Quotes and Orders, Create Order. Now let us select Business Unit US 001, Order Status Closed, and click on Search. It lists out all the sales orders which are present in both production and archive database. Since the data is currently in production database, it would show up in the Union View PIA. If we want to see only the archive database data from the Union View PeopleSoft application, it would be possible only by changing the configuration setup to the NAA. We have seen that the selection has been completed successfully and the archive file has been created with the data. Let us proceed to delete the data from the production. Select OM Sales Order Delete Request link and enter the request ID as OMS1, as is the same request ID used for the data selection. Click on Search button. Now the delete criteria page is displayed. Here the user can run the request either by clicking on Run Delete button or can schedule the process to any future date and time by clicking on Schedule Delete. For the demo, we are clicking on Run Delete button. Now the status has changed to delete requested and Optim has started the delete process. This command will delete the data present in the archive file. Click on the refresh button. This will in turn update the status with the current status of the Optim delete process. Once the process is completed, the status on the page changes to delete completed and the control file name gets displayed on the page. Now, click on the process monitor button to check the Optim delete process which is running. Here we can see the run status is processing for the current delete process. Now we will go back to the delete criteria page and click on the refresh status button until the status changes to delete completed and the control file name gets displayed on the page. Now we will go to the process monitor and click on the refresh button on the process monitor page until the run status and distribution status changes to success and posted respectively. Now in the process monitor page, click on the details to know the process details and click on view log and trace. Here we see the delete report and the override parameter file respectively. Click on the OMS delete report. It contains all the details like request name, server name, archive file and the control file name. The process status is no errors and no warnings. Total rows deleted is 2213 with rows with errors is 0. And under row details, we can check the rows deleted from each table. These are the transaction tables from which the records have been deleted as per the archive file. Now let us check for the data in the production box for PeopleSoft application. Navigate to Main menu, Order Management, Quotes and Order and Create Order. Let us select Business Unit US 001, Order Status Closed. Click on Search. As expected, there is no data fetched from the above inputs, as you have deleted the data from the production database. Let us go to the Union View PIA. We will check for the sales order data for the same business unit and the date range with order status as closed. Navigate to Main menu, Order Management, Quotes and Order, Create Order. Here, let us select Business Unit US 001, Order Status Closed, and click Search. Here too, no records are fetched as sales order data is neither there in the production nor in the archive database. We will now restore the data from the archive file to archive database, which is already configured in Optim. Now select OM Sales Order Restore Request link and enter the request ID as OMS1, as this is the name given to the request ID used for data selection and deletion. Click on the search button. Now the restore criteria page is displayed. Here we have an option to select restore target destination. By default, it is pointing to archive database. But as previously said in the video, we can restore the data back to production database if needed. Here the user can run the request either by clicking on Run Restore button or can schedule the process to any future date and time by clicking on Schedule Restore. For the demo, we are clicking on Run Restore button with Restore Target Destination pointing to Archive Database. Now the status has changed to Restore to Archive Database Tables Requested, and Optim has started the restore process. This command will restore the data present in the archive file. Click on the Refresh Status button. This will in turn update the status with the current status of the Optim restore process. Once the process is completed, the status on the page changes to Restore Completed and the file name gets displayed on the page. Now click on the Process Monitor button to check the Optim restore process while it is running. Here we can see the run status is processing for the current restore process. Now we will go back to the restore criteria page and click on the refresh status button until the status changes to restore completed and the control file name gets displayed on the page. Further to that, we will go to the process monitor and click on the refresh button on the process monitor page until the run status and distribution status changes to success and posted respectively. Now in the process monitor page, click on the details to know the process details. And click on View Log Trace. Here we can see restore report and override parameters file respectively. click on the OMS Restore report. It contains all the details like request name, server name, archive file, control file name. The process status is no errors and no warnings. The total rows restored is 2213 with 0 errors in rows. And under row detail, we can check the rows inserted into each table. The tables restored are the ones from the data that have been deleted from the production database. Now, let us go to the Union View PIA. We will check for the sales order data from the same business unit and the date range with order status as closed. Navigate to Main menu, Order Management, Quotes and Orders, Create Order. Let us select Business Unit US 001, Order Status, Closed, and click on Search. Here we can see the data present from the above inputs. This is the list of all the sales order present in both the production and the archive database. Now we have completed the 3 steps of archive with selection, delete, and restore process. By this, it completes the demo for the order management sales order module. Now we will look at the access definition editor, archive request editor, delete request editor, and the insert request editor along with the restore request editor on Core Optim. This is the Optim console we will use for Core Optim to perform the archive, delete, and restore process. And for the demo's purpose, we have already imported the order management Optim export file. Optim export file, that is OEF, which consists of access definition, archive request, delete request, insert request, and the restore request. It also contains the primary key, relationship key, and the table map. The identifier window, which displays the list of identifiers, serves as the prefix for object definition. Let us have a look at the access definition window, which describes a set of related data to be archived. It is also used to manage and maintain the list of tables, relationship, and to specify the selection criteria to archive. And this is the Tables tab. It displays the list of table name in the access definition to specify the data to be archived. To create a table list, we need to specify and add the start table and other tables like transactional table, context table, and the reference table. In the table specification column, the icon indicates the selection criteria or other selections for the table. As you can see, there is an SQL icon in the selection list, and when the same is clicked, the icon will display the SQL tab where an SQL where clause is specified for the table. We can have any business criteria specified against the table that defines the candidate for data archival. It allows all types of SQL statements. This is the relationship tab, which defines column in the parent table that relates to corresponding columns in the child table. It also defines a traversal path for selecting data from the tables referenced in an access definition. And next, let us explore the variables tab. We can use the variables tab to assign variables for selection criteria or SQL statements in an access definition. By assigning variables, we can provide values for the variables each time the access definition is processed. As an option, we can also provide default values for the variables. Now let us have a quick understanding of Archive Request Editor window. The archive request defines the parameters for extracting data from source table and saving the data to an archive file. The data in an archive file can be browsed or selectively restored at any time. When we create an archive request, we must specify an archive file name, archive index file name, and the access definition option. What you see right now is the Delete Request Editor window. The delete request allows us to remove the relational data from the database cleanly and accurately from the source tables after archiving the data. We can create delete request. We must specify the source file that contains archive data which we want to delete and the control file name to record the information about the process. And the next is the Insert Request Editor window. Insert request places the data from a source file into a destination database with the help of a table map. When we create an insert request, we must specify the source file that contains the data we want to insert. The control file name to to record the information about the process, table map, and process options. Finally, let's have a look at the Restore Request Editor window. The Restore request allows us to select the data from one or more archive files and restore it into the destination database, that is either the original or the alternative database. When we create a restore request, we must specify the archive file that contains the data to be restored. With that, we come to the end of our demo. Thank you.